Hello, greetings to you, and I am JB here. I'm excited to come to you with another video. It has been a long time, but I am excited to be here. So a quick story before we go any further. I have had a run with Facebook lately, and I lost my personal account and my Facebook page. So I had to open another one and hope that there's no trouble this time, but although we can always anticipate trouble in this world, so I'll keep you updated on whether I have to open another page. So at the moment I can't access my Iron Sharpens Iron Life page, so I'll keep you updated with that. So I am coming to you. Really what I am doing at the moment is to test some of the vlogging equipment that we got. So I will appreciate your comments as far as the audio and the video quality is concerned. Once you watch this video, tell me what that looks like and sounds like, so that I can know how to make necessary adjustments with that. And again, welcome aboard, and thank you for watching. So then, what are we going to talk about? I thought it wise to talk about something that some of you who have followed me for a long time now, or who I am friends with for a long time, have noticed that I'm passionate about. So it is the issue of prophets and false prophets indeed, because their works are evident. We see a lot of things we're hearing from day to day about a prophet has caused this, from swindling of money to breaking of marriages and so on. So I think it is safe to call them false prophets, and usually I use the word papas. So when you hear me or see me use the word papa, I am referring to these so-called prophets who are indeed false prophets. And so what exactly are we going to talk about? You probably have heard someone else maybe warn you to stay away from prophets. These people that pose themselves as prophets, to probably avoid them. But then you have wondered and said, well, how do I know one? How do I know that this one is a fake prophet or a false teacher or something like that? Now, my approach, I am not going to go to the scriptures and expound them. What I will do is I will just provide some of the guidelines based on observable evidence and also what the Bible says. So I'm sort of jumping into an application of some sort, but that I am hoping that it will help us together in order to live healthy Christian lives and not to be captive to a man's scheme. That's my concern. So I am coming to you with a sincere heart, and that is my cry. And without further ado, let us delve in. So how do I know that this is a false teacher or a false prophet? I'm going to share with you three things. This is not an exhaustive list, but my conviction is that maybe if you hear something like this, you might be safe enough to be able to recognize some of these people for who they are. So let's not waste time. Let's go to number one. The number one marker. Okay, these are not in the order of importance, but point number one. Okay, how do you know? These people, they tend to add to or replace their actual names with certain threatening titles or names. So now, not all of them do this, but the majority of them will do this. Now, you might have come across someone who identifies himself as Major this, or General that, or General Bazooka, or the Seer 1, or Seer whatever, the General Seer, Major 1, Demon Chaser, or Demon Bazooka, the Spiritual Canon, all those kinds of titles and names. They're adding to or replacing their names with. And that is one of the markers of a false teacher. Let me tell you why they're doing that, because you might think, well, he's just being fancy. No, he is not just being fancy. what he is doing is he's trying to create this facade. He's trying to create this atmosphere which is both threatening and manipulating. Okay, so how is it threatening? Because he's playing with your psychology, really. So here's how it works. For you, when you hear something like that, you're probably going to say, well, where did he get that to call himself that? He obviously is the representative of God. How would God, he comes to us as the general one or general manager of God or the general prophet of God. He's probably, if God has given him that mandate, well, he surely is the respected one. And so you begin to think like, oh, he has this title, which, presumably is from God, and therefore he must be the one to listen to. He must be the one, if I have a problem, to go to. If he's a good general, then, well, I want to listen to someone like that. If he's the general of prophets, or if he's the general seer, maybe he has the ability to solve my problems. And that's what they're doing. They want you to see that. That's what they want you. They want you to see them as solutions to your problems. Now, the other side of why they're doing that is probably to manipulate you, or threaten you again, because what they're doing is, if they speak something in your life and you disagree with it, and this point I will elaborate it on the next marker, but say you disagree, they will say, oh, how dare you disagree with the general whatever of God, or how dare you, I have powers. If I am the general chaser of demons, surely I have something to do to mess up your life if you try to question me. So those names, they're not just fancy things. They're there to serve a certain purpose, which is purpose of manipulating and keeping you as gullible as you can, and also to threaten you when you try to break away from that. So watch out for such people and run away from them. Number two, this spiritual leader believes that he has no peers. He is at the apex of everything. He's at the pinnacle. He is at the top. And everything is pointed toward him. Everything he says must go. And sometimes they use the phrase, do as I say. It means that there's no accountability. Nobody can question my decisions. My decisions and my decrees are final. And once I say it, you must do it. If you do not do it, you are messing up with the man of God. Now, that is a very dangerous place to be. Why? Because there's no accountability. Now, your spiritual leader or your pastor or your prophet needs to have, the scriptures encourage us to be accountable to one another, to edify one another, so that we can continue to grow in Christ. He is supposed to at least be accountable, at least, to his fellow leaders. But if there's nothing like that, and he is this one man who just issues decrees, then that's a dangerous place to be. Now, let me show you what that does. On one end, these are the people who tell followers. When they tell them, you can't question what I am doing, they'll say, touch not my anointed one, or I can produce a curse in your life. That if you question me and I can choose to mess up your life, you will not be able to undo. So everything you do, I must have a hand in it. I must have a say in it. And what they're doing with that, they're manipulating a lot of people. This could be in terms of marriages. This could be in terms of people's finances. Because they're going to, a lot of examples, some of them will say, if you buy a car, they're going to come to you and say, well, that car is not ready for driving unless I cleanse it. And cleansing it means I have to drive it maybe for 6 months. Then I'll give it to you. It will be ready for you to use. And they may come to you if you buy a television. They may come to you and say, well, it is not ready for use. The man of God has to watch it for about 4 months or 3 months. Then I'll give it to you. Or that may even include your wife. They may say, well, I see in the spiritual realm that there's a problem of barrenness, so I have to do some things, some rituals with your wife. in seclusion and you're not there, but it's between me and your wife and God. I just have to do some cleansing, and man, where that goes. We can, it goes to unspeakable levels with that. And so they use that. You can't question their decisions, but really what they're doing is they're manipulating you. And you can just see how gullible do you have to be in order for you to not see that level of manipulation. And these guys, they want to keep you as gullible as you can be so that they can continue to take advantage of you. The other side of it, when you see a leader who is at the top and he issues such words, what he is saying and doing is that he is posing himself as a mediator between you and God. And so he believes that, he is the one who can, do something. He can invoke God. He can manipulate God into messing up your life. Who say that, oh, you dare do that if you do not sow a seed. You must sow a seed. If you do not, I withdraw on behalf of God. I withdraw blessings from your life. I will tell God to do this and that to your life. And once you fall into that, there's no coming back. It will take a miracle for you to come back. So you need to watch out for those people. And let me just remind you of what the scriptures say about who our mediator is. In 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 4 and 5, after Paul urged us to pray and to pray for one another, he says that we should pray for all people, and he says that there is one mediator between God and man, and he says the mediator is the man Jesus Christ. Now, Paul intentionally, I think, calls him the man Jesus Christ to emphasize the idea that Christ became like one of us. Christ is God in flesh. Christ is God who came to be like us in order that he can empathize and sympathize with us. This is what we find in the book of Hebrews again. After the author has says in chapter 1, verse 1 to 3 that Jesus is the exact imprint of the image of the Father, he goes on in chapter 2 to say that Jesus became like one of us. He became like the children of, like the descendants of Abraham. He became like us in every way so that he can be a compassionate priest, so that he can empathize and sympathize with us, so that he can represent us. So Jesus became man so that he can represent us before God. That is, dying on the cross, providing a sacrifice for us, but also the continued intercession that he is offering for believers. In Peter, in one of the books of Peter, we learned that we are a royal priesthood. It means that God has called us into this family where we all can offer a sacrifice of praise with Jesus as our great high priest. And that means that we can pray to God without needing a man other than Jesus to represent us before God. And Hebrews 4:16, it categorically says, since we have such a great priest, let us therefore approach God with confidence. So then don't let someone come to you and tell you, I am the one who can mess up or make your life, because I talk to God and you don't, and I can talk to God on your behalf, either for your benefit or not. You can pray to Jesus Christ. You can pray to God through Jesus Christ, and God will answer your prayers. You do not need the so-called prophet in order to do that. Now, that doesn't mean your pastor can't pray for you, but what I am saying is that he is not your mediator. He does not have the powers to tell God what to do in your life. He does not have the powers to influence God to mess up your life. Don't believe that nonsense. That's what I am saying. Now, number 3. Maybe you've been to a church or to encounter these spiritual leaders who are emphasizing on selling merchandise. So these are the people, and this is not like the church, it has a shop at the backyard or something. This is the idea that we have these products that have some sort of a spiritual significance, and they'll come to you and ask you, do you have a problem? And when you say yes, they'll say, oh, you might consider buying our anointed so and so, our anointed broom to sweep out your poverty, or our anointed underwear to help with your fertility issues, or our anointed water to, ward off demons, or anything in those lines. Some of these things that they use, they're amulets and fetishes and all sorts of kinds of crazy stuff. And tell me what that sounds like. To me, that sounds like witch doctors doing their job. So what they are really, they are witch doctors masquerading as pastors and spiritual leaders. You have to open your eyes and see that these things are not in the scriptures. Christ is in us and he works in us, and we do have the power of God working in us, and we do not need amulets or certain fetishes to evoke God to operate in our lives. Again, you and I can pray to God because of what Christ was able to accomplish for us. So once you see people who are selling these merchandise in the name of solving your problems, buy this and bath 3 times a day, that's the sort of divination kind of thing, please run away from them as you would run from a cobra. And I'm emphasizing that so that you do not fall prey to these people, because once they get hold of you, they'll do anything they can do to keep you where they want you to be, so that they can keep on taking advantage of you. They're going to run away with your finances. They'll run away. They will ruin your marriage. And so that is my concern and my heart to you. This list is not exhaustive. You can keep learning, and I hope that I'll come back soon enough with maybe another video related to this. So thank you very much for watching, and compliments of the season, and God bless you. Thank you.